NSA Day of Cyber team is monitoring a live cyber situation where repeated attacks on our intelligence drones are being conducted by hackers. The hackers' objective appears to be gaining control over intelligence gathering drones. The cyber attacks on our drones have been going on for months, and the hackers seem to be getting smarter in their methods. The immediate cyber situation is that we have a drone currently flying a live intelligence gathering mission over international territories. Now, this drone is currently 2 hours away from its operations base, and hackers are aggressively attacking the network that has command and control over the satellite communications directing the drone's mission targets. Team, please provide an update.
The hackers' transmissions have been intercepted by the Signals Intelligence Group. We have analysed these signals consisting of audio, text and data and confirm that a rogue organisation is planning to reroute the drone to an unmarked airstrip in a foreign and very hostile territory. We are passing the Global Positioning System coordinates over to the team to gather more intelligence about airstrip and surrounding areas.
We've been gathering information on the attack methods and source of attack. Now, it appears there are two possible types of attack in progress. Sophisticated malware may have been injected into the control network to gain access to the command and control systems that will allow a rogue operator to reroute the drone using encrypted communications protocols. Or a rogue satellite is sending false flight instructions to the drone in efforts to take control and reroute the drone.
There's intermittent and disrupted signals from both the intelligence gathering mission and GPS. Because the current communications are being disrupted, the operators are concerned they may lose total control when the drone enters a mountain range area within 12 minutes, and they will have no ability to track or determine if it is being rerouted.
We have begun to reverse engineer the malware to determine the malware's payload, how it's communicating outside the network, the level of access, and how it entered the network so we can shut it off.
Team, I've seen this before and have previously done research on techniques for shutting down malware's ability to communicate outside the infected network. A breach network is a huge problem, but once data leaves the target network, then you lose total control over the data and you now have a data breach. So if we can shut down the communications channel, then they can't steal or exfiltrate data outside the target network. And in this case, they won't be able to communicate with the drone and reroute it. In a prior attack, hackers were trying to hack into our protected networks and attempting to steal sensitive data from the classified system. So what we did then was to crack the malware's encrypted communications transmission, leaving the protected network, and we turned it around on them by substituting false information to throw them off. We might try that same technique here. What do you think?
Right. My team has been working on cracking the malware, and we think we've got the encryption scheme narrowed down to being a simple character substitution algorithm. They can now control flight direction and operation of the drone. We need some quick response action to mitigate the situation, and we need it yesterday, team.
No worries, and we indeed need to act fast if we want to save that drone and all the intel it has been gathering. Madison, Trevor and I have pulled some software that we previously developed to shut down the communication channel between our command and control systems and the hacker's satellite.
Great work so far, team. But we're not out of the woods yet. We still don't have authorization to deploy the countermeasure capability. And even if we do, we cannot confirm if our drone operators can re-establish satellite communications to control the birds again and reverse the drone's flight instructions away from the rogue airstrip. And there's only 8 minutes left before our window closes, and the drone enters a zone where we could lose communications and total control. Team, now we need you to make a decision. Okay, to summarize now, Imani, our vulnerability analyst, has decrypted the malware, and Sandy, our cryptographic analyst, has translated intercepted radio signals to the drone. Madison, our capabilities development specialist, has designed and can install countermeasure software on the command and control network so we have the ability to monitor and potentially override the hacker's actions. Now we can either attempt to turn the drone around and bring it home safely, allow the drone to continue to fly for 8 more minutes before it enters vulnerable airspace, so we can gather valuable information about the hacker's actions, which will help us determine who is behind the attack, including their intent and identity. Or Install the countermeasure software to allow us to control the drone and mirror their actions and change course before the vulnerable airspace. But remember, we need to decide what to do. Low risk decision. Cut the hacker's communication and return the drone to base. Medium risk decision. Fly the drone for 8 more minutes. High risk decision. Install countermeasure software and track hackers to uncover and shut down the global hacker network. What's your decision? While this certainly appears to be the safest bet, there are risks introduced with every decision, and it's important to understand the upsides and downsides to your decision. The upsides is you have successfully kept the drone from getting in the hands of hackers or being shut down. That is great. Keeping our assets from our enemies is really important, but is it a short-term gain versus long-term risk? On the downside, by changing the direction of the drone, you will tip off the hackers that you are onto them. And the hackers may then shut down their communications and network. You may have lost your best opportunity to find out who they are and shut them down and their entire operation. The hackers will attack another day and change their methods. Now that you understand the upsides and downsides of this decision, would you still make the same decision? Your decision to allow the drones to continue flying has several upsides, but it does introduce risk. Let's review the intended upside versus unintended downside so you can assess the risk. The upside is flying the drone further into the danger zone allows us to gather more intelligence about the hacker organization, trace their locations, and understand their communication systems. Now, the downside is we may tip off the bad guys that we're tracking their moves. They may shut down their communications, and we lose our ability to identify them. Now that you understand the upsides and downsides of this decision, would you still make the same decision? Your decision to attempt to install countermeasure software to gather additional information on hackers in such a pivotal situation certainly makes you a risk taker. There can be high stakes as risk taker, so let's look at the risk rewards associated in this decision. The upside is the new software may give you the additional information you need to gather more intelligence about the hacker organization, trace their locations, and understand their communication systems. Now, this would allow us to possibly knock out the entire hacker organization, reducing future drone attacks, thus reducing overall risk. But the downside is that in an attempt to take over the bad guy's satellite communications, the drone continues to fly into the danger zone, and we risk losing control over its flight. The software may not work, and we lose the ability to track it and ultimately lose the drone. If they have one of the drones, they will get more information about the drones and intel gathered during the current mission. Future drone flights are at greater risk. Would you like to see how your decision ranks with other students?